Hey y'all, it's Natalie Dill and I'm here with a technique Tuesday focused on embossing. I'm going to create a fun background on this layout and I'm going to use two different ways of embossing. So I have my embossing pen and my re-inker. I have some polar embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. I have embossing folders. I have the Bo Bunny Colorful Story Collection. I have these Minte chippies that are the technology theme. And I end up pulling out some rub-ons, which are from All in Create. I also pull out some from 49 Market. And I will end up using the Carson ephemera from Bella Boulevard as well. So I'm going to pull out this blue and yellow All in Create rub-on. And I'm just going to messily apply it across the middle of the page in a few different ways. Now, these don't come off great. And I mean, I am using textured cardstock, so that could be part of it. But to be honest with you, I don't have a problem with the 49 Market rub-ons coming off. So that being said, it's really fun to use it for a mixed media background because you can reuse it in multiple spots like you see me doing here. So I do think they have a place in a stash. So now you see me using a re-inker for a Wow embossing pad. And I'm just going to doodle across the page, kind of making it look like graffiti. And I'm kind of grouping my doodles around the clusters of rub-ons. I did a couple of lightning bolts and some circles and just some random doodles. If you don't have a re-inker like this, that is like a roller ball in it, you could totally use an embossing pen, which is what you see over there on the right as well. You could also just stamp with embossing ink, and then I powdered up all of the doodles. I used Brutus Monroe's polar colored, it's bright blue. I was pulling the colors kind of from my son's hoodie in the picture. And then I'm just going over the different areas and kind of just making sure that they're nice and covered with the powder. I'm not going to do 2 layers or anything like I sometimes do with embossing. But that's okay too if they look a little distressed because it's supposed to look like that, right? So now I'm going to set them with my heat gun. And while I'm doing that, I'll let you know that I'm going to scrapbook this photo of my son. It's right when he first got his phone. And so I'm going to tell a little story about him getting his phone. And the title's just going to be K period. Because I don't know if you have a preteen or a teenager who's not super chatty on the phone. But that's the response that I get the most from him. K dot. So I thought it would be fun to make that the title. So I decided to go in and add some lime green because the whole layout was kind of inspired by A Colorful Story by Bo Bunny, but I ended up not really using too many pieces. But I will use the lime green paper. So I decided to go into these. These are from my stash, but they came in a cherry box about a year ago as well, and they are awesome. They probably are still in your stash too because there's a lot of them. The Spectrum Sherbet palette rub-ons, they're so good. By 49 Market. So now I'm going through the Colorful Story ephemera pack, and I'm just going to pull out 2 film strips. So I'm going to do the yellow and the turquoise, which match his hoodie. And then I'm going to pull out these Minte chippies. And these are the technology ones. So I'm going to pick the phone and a Wi-Fi circle and then a chat bubble with a heart in it. And then I'm just using this little tool that has a sharp edge to kind of cut away the bits that are adhering the chippy to the insert. And now I'm going to lay everything on the layout to see how I want it. So like I said, I pulled out the Carson ephemera from Bella Boulevard. It's like the Teen Vibes collection, the boy one, if you will. And it is awesome. And I've used it a lot and I still have a lot of it. So it's really bright and crisp. For me, I like to do distressing. So I will just rough up the edges and I'll add some inking to the edges. And I'll end up doing that in the green citron color from Distress Oxides. So I'm just pulled out a few of the pieces that match the layout that I'm doing. And then just that also kind of go along. So like a phone or technology or a backpack because he was going to school. So there I cut out the letter K by hand. So it's kind of messy and wonky, but you know, that's the vibe I'm going for. And then I just did a little period as well, block letter period. And then I'm going to use my spritzer bottle and I'm going to spritz it. And then I'm going to lay it in a embossing folder. So I chose an embossing folder that has stars. But if you spritz it first, it keeps the paper from cracking when I roll it through your embossing machine. So you can see I have some stars embossed on the cardstock. And I think I'm ready to start putting my page together because I have, the background bits. Oh no, I do have the color of my chippies. So I didn't have a lime green embossing powders, but I still want the embossing vibe. So I want the glazed look that I have on the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink these pieces up with the citron color from the Distress Oxide. And then I'm going to go in with some, while they're still wet, with some clear gloss embossing powder by Wow, and then I'm going to heat set that, and so that will give me that glossy look. It's the same glossy look that the polar powder on the background page also has, and so that's just a way to kind of tie in some of the elements on the page to the background that I created. So just be careful when you're heat setting things like this. Use tweezers or something to keep your thing in place. You can't use your finger or you will burn your finger with your heat embossing gun. And you can see how that just glossed right up. So let it dry completely or let it cool, and then you can pick it up and it's set. And then you also don't have to worry about the color transferring at all. So I know it looks a little messy, but I think when we add everything on, it really gives a good nod to the photo, and it's a good vibe for a teen or a preteen page. I roughed up the edges of all the ephemera and my title, and then I inked it all up with that same citron color that I used there on those chippy bits. So I'm kind of just thinking a little bit in a visual triangle when I'm laying out the chippies, and then also just the coloring bits. So I have a visual triangle of yellow there. I have that turquoise piece. I don't have a lot more of turquoise, but there's a lot in the photo. So I'm going to back the photo with a piece of turquoise, and then I'll leave an empty spot. I didn't do it on screen, but I am going to add some journaling. So I will probably use a turquoise pencil. I'll have 3 elements of turquoise on the page as well. And then that will make a nice visual triangle and just repeat that color. I have that ephemera bit that is also the lightning bolt, kind of similar to what I drew on the background. So we're about done with the layout. You just see me building it up here. I hope you enjoyed this. If you do, go on over to Natalie Dill over here on YouTube, and you can follow me for more like this over there. But if you check out the gallery on A Cherry on Top, where I've posted this, you can see all of the products used. I did a lot of mix and match. So I decided that the top and bottom are just too bright and crisp. So I just do a very thin strip. I cut a very thin strip off of my white cardstock across the bottom and the top. And then I'm going to add this Bo Bunny Colorful Story lime green paper. That was really the inspiration for the start of this page because it was the color inspiration for me. And I'm just going to let that top peek out, and then I'm not going to waste the whole piece of under this, so I'll cut off a strip, and you can actually see how I kind of ripped it off, and then I just sliced off another little rectangle to put down at the bottom. And that just adds those colors from the middle, pop of it at the top. Could ink up the edge of that I've pulled down. You can sew along the edge. That would be a fun way to add interest. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my citron ink pad. I'm going to water it down for some watercolor and just add some splatter around the page, because I wasn't going to, and then I thought, you know what, it needs something, and usually that splatter, almost always that helps. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the layout. The stills are coming, but they're also posted in the gallery with all of the supplies listed as well. Bye, y'all.